So this was at 25 minutes. This is my good device, and you see here how it's going up. The videos alter. Like when Collins said that he said that I was being arrested for making false reports, then it changed to I was being arrested for abuse of 911 for trying to report death threats, and that's why they hold it up. Sometimes the wording changes, knowing that you never believe it. Like movies, when they change the movies and alter what's being said. I do like make a lot of mistakes because this is scary for to be left trapped in this. But some of there actually is strategy of tampering with evidence. All this is avenues pretending like they don't understand when they really do, and it's also a form of taunting. This psychological abuse is a form of domestic abuse. Putting me on hold, taunting me, and doing all these games, strategizing avenues to be set up. They wanted me, mid-coast wanted me to, they were coached to call these abusers out. And then they strategize avenues to cover for crimes and avenues they perceive they won't get caught. It should be 5 minutes. The police department's doing it, so therefore they have to cover the law enforcement, sheriffs. They're behind all this. They're using their credentials and positions, and I've even had Secret Service involved. That's why these big churches, are coerced to keep me from services, because we have people on high-ranking law enforcement being controlled as minions for someone from a horror movie. As I said before COVID, that this is a threat to all parties because, like I said, at Fountain of Living Word Church, his car windows were busted out. At the other location, I accidentally said that the church was shot up, but no, actually their house was shot up. At CT Community Transformation, when they were crying, they stated that someone had did some damage to the church there. And then, I don't know what was going on, and several churches that I've attended had scandals. And then I don't know what's going on with the Potter's house, but he has had a lot of smear to his name, connecting him with Diddy. But I've noticed people around me have been pathologically lied. I've been pathologically lied on, and so has a great amount of people around me. My kids were pathologically lied on, and the police department covered for it. Some may had a record without tarnish. Someone said that my son had shot her child with a BB gun. I said, my son doesn't have a gun. I said, that's a blatant lie. So nonetheless, he said he was furious, and he said, I need to see the BB gun right now. The officer, this happened in Avenger. So I said, you want to see my son's gun? It was yellow. He got it from a dollar store. It was a cap gun. And he said, oh, okay. And I said, you send this to her. He said, no. I said, you send this to her. Then she called up the school smearing. I said, why was she called? But they already knew my son was a great child. They said, I don't know why she would have called up here. It was a smear campaign for my children when I didn't even know I was targeted. So she called up to the school and tried to smear his name. So I told her to send the gun back up there. That's a false report. The police department ignored all these false reports. Then someone said, after that false report, someone said that I did something to her child. They loved us in the community. I gave them cookies. I baked. I had big parties. People of all economic status brought their kids over there. I mean, their kids were in my bed, like 4 or 5 kids. They were in my son's room. It was packed to the brim. I had to put a note on the door because kids would come all the time and wake us up out of our sleep, always wanting to be over there. All economic status kids were coming over there. My kids had games. I baked. Communities came over there. I mean, people came over there to eat. I had cookouts and let kids come. So then another mom stated that my son did something to her children. Okay. So since I knew that these strangers were trying to set my kids up, I asked her kids because she called the police. She told me. So I went straight to her kids. They were outside playing. And I said, did my son do something? He said, no, they weren't having it. I'm giving you cookies and doing all this. They were not about to lie for their mom. Now, I'm not going to ruin my cookies and my good thing for you. Her son said, no, I didn't say that. I don't know what she's talking about. She called the school, came up there and made a scene in the school, demanded that her son not sit by my son. The school said, I don't know what's wrong with her. We told her she needs to handle that elsewhere, and she created a disturbance into school. Miss Collins said that she did this, and she called me concerned about her behavior. So when I stated that my kids were being smeared, I'm sure that you didn't believe it. But if someone were to do law enforcement, you can see pathological lies. There was another mysterious incident where this strange lady was demanding that my son came in and cleaned her house. And I tried to get the law enforcement to see it was a scheme and to smear his name. And then I asked law enforcement why this one was demanding that my son come in and clean her house, and then he walked out and got intimidated and started to bully me when I didn't even know I was targeted. But I'm putting all the pieces together on what would coerce my family to behave the way that they're behaving and conceal all these crimes. I think that someone is terrorizing people that's not mentally stable in my environments and enlisting law enforcement and their mental illness to be in cahoots, and they're doing it for profit. So they're behaving like they're sociopaths and mentally ill too for profit.